The Lord of Fire failed as well? The Lord of Fire had reached the ultimate tier of the second level several hundred cataclysm cycles ago, just one calamity short of becoming a legendary lord. Even among second-tier ultimate lords, their accumulation is considered top-notch, yet they do not meet the special requirements for entry into the deepest realm. It's too difficult. Lords around whispered, without a hint of schadenfreude. The Lord of Fire? Lin Yuan glanced at the figure expelled from the void passage, recalling that this lord was a formidable presence, even surpassing some legendary lords in certain aspects. Legendary lords of the third tier are engrossed in pursuing the path of transcendence, and in terms of reputation, might not necessarily surpass some second-tier ultimate lords. I will give it a try. After the Lord of Fire was expelled, another lord stepped forward, entering the void passage with a single stride. Only second-tier ultimate lords dare to try entering the void passage. As for those who have touched the threshold of legend, they don't even have the ability to attempt. In front of the void entrance, layers of time forces are spread out. Basically, only second-tier ultimate lords can withstand them and thus attempt to enter the void passage. Lin Yuan thought to himself, simultaneously abandoning the idea of trying to enter the void passage himself. His true state isn't even at the lord level. His timeline hasn't consolidated, and he has no hope of withstanding the layers of time forces. But it's good to come here and witness it. Lin Yuan wasn't very disappointed. Before long, the second-tier ultimate lord who entered after the Lord of Fire was also expelled. Exactly what kind of second-tier ultimate meets the requirements for entry? This lord furrowed their brow. Lin Yuan also observed from afar. At that moment, the originally calm void entrance suddenly boiled. This boiling far exceeded the ripples caused by the second-tier ultimate lord being expelled. Soon after, from behind the void entrance, figures exuding a terrifying aura emerged. The leading figure radiated with a purple light, seemingly illuminating layers of time and space dimensions. Are they legendary lords? Legendary lords. Logically, the legendary lords pondering in the deepest realm wouldn't come out so soon. Why have the legendary lords come out? The many-time lords were somewhat bewildered. The closing of the one-way dimension is still far off. Logically, the legendary lords pondering in the deepest realm wouldn't come out so soon. The purple light legendary lords surveyed the surroundings, their gaze falling on Lin Yuan, smiling. Little friend, are you planning to enter the deepest realm to ponder? The other legendary lords' gazes also fell on Lin Yuan. Having seen a glimpse of Lin Yuan's future, these legendary lords had a consistent attitude towards him. That was to keep a distance. But now Lin Yuan was at the entrance of the deepest realm. He had already shown interest in the deepest realm of Wanwei. These legendary lords naturally couldn't sit idly by. Keeping a distance doesn't mean no contact or exclusion. Now that Lin Yuan had reached the entrance of the deepest realm, if they continued to ignore him. In the future, when Lin Yuan becomes one of the strongest legendary lords across the vast dimensional planes, they would naturally reap no benefits. Therefore, every legendary lord in the deepest realm came out to meet Lin Yuan, preparing to bring Lin Yuan into the deepest realm of Wanwei. Besides the two methods above, there is another way to enter the deepest realm. That is to be brought in by a legendary lord. Similar to how a time lord can bring time beings into Wanwei. But what kind of existence are legendary lords? Would they bring second-tier lords into the deepest realm without reason? So this method wasn't considered. Enter the deepest realm to ponder? Lin Yuan looked at the legendary lords, whose eyes were filled with goodwill towards him, thoughts turning, and nodded directly. Yes. It was evident that these legendary lords probably sensed the disturbance when he summoned his future self. That's why they had such an attitude. Apart from this reason, Lin Yuan couldn't think of any other aspects that would cause the legendary lords to treat him so warmly. In this situation, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't refuse. He didn't actually plan to necessarily venture into the deepest region of the Wanwei spacetime. But if there's an opportunity to enter, Lin Yuan wouldn't refuse either. Young friend, Come in with us. The purple light legendary lord said with a smile. Then he raised his hand and forcibly opened a passage in the void entrance. All right. Lin Yuan immediately followed in. Once Lin Yuan entered, the other legendary lords also followed suit one by one. What happened? Outside the void entrance, the Time Lords were stunned. They longed to enter the deepest region, yet Lin Yuan went in so easily, and he was welcomed by the legendary lords? Who is he? Why does he receive such treatment from the legendary lords? Compared to Lin Yuan entering the deepest region, the attitude of the many legendary lords was even more bewildering. A second-level lord entering the deepest region isn't unheard of, but so many legendary lords personally coming out to welcome him is unprecedented. I remember now he is Galaxy. Recently in the deep region, his future self erased the Blood Sea Lord's future self before he could cross into the legendary level. In the future, this Galaxy will be an incredibly powerful legendary lord. The Time Lord said, so that's the case. An incredibly powerful legendary lord's past self? The Time Lords were enlightened. This somewhat explains the stance of the legendary lords. Legendary lord, and an incredibly powerful legendary lord. The Time Lords marveled. If Galaxy's future was just a normal legendary lord, he wouldn't be personally welcomed by the legendary lords. Galaxy. All the Time Lords remembered this name firmly in their hearts. Wanwei Spacetime. Deepest region. This is a vast white world. 7 or 8 legendary lords followed beside Lin Yuan, introducing everything about the deepest region. That is the Origin Stone, which contains the experience of Lord Wanwei exploring the path of infinite origins, detailing the taboos of certain ancient time periods. The purple light legendary lord pointed at an enormous divine stone. Origin Stone? Lin Yuan gazed at it from afar, faintly sensing scenes from a very ancient past. Past spacetime is very dangerous, especially those involving terrifying beings from the past. The purple light legendary lord sighed and said, these terrifying beings fell due to being too close to transcendence, but in the past spacetime, they left their marks. Exploring the path of infinite origins, exploring past spacetime, there's a great chance of encountering traces left by these terrifying beings. I see. Lin Yuan nodded. Previously, he only knew the greatest danger of exploring the path of infinite origins was the curse of being lost. Now it seems that's not all. In the deepest region, Lord Wanwei left 2 places. The Origin Stone is one, the other is the Abyss of Calamity. The purple light legendary lord looked to the distance. Lin Yuan followed his gaze, where a dark abyss lay. The Abyss of Calamity records the numerous calamities experienced by Lord Wanwei, as well as other collected calamities. Although the path of endless calamity is different for each lord, observing the calamities experienced by other lords can provide reference value for oneself. The purple light legendary lord said. Lin Yuan nodded, expressing agreement. The forms of calamities may differ, but essentially there are similar aspects. Next, Lin Yuan conversed with the various legendary lords. Then he began to ponder over the mysteries on his own. In the deepest region of Wanwei spacetime, aside from comprehending the Origin Stone and Abyss of Calamity, moreover, Lin Yuan can also gain from Lord Wanwei's understanding of spacetime, aiding his own consolidation of timelines and creation of the innate 5 great in the future. Time slowly passed. In a blink, 6,000 years had gone by. In the deepest part of the Wanwei time-space, next to the Origin Stone, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, contemplating the records of ancient time periods made by Lord Wanwei. As various insights merged, numerous timelines finally converged completely. At the moment the timelines were sealed, Lin Yuan successfully stepped into the 3rd realm, becoming a true Time Lord. The biggest difference between a lord and a perfect time being below the 3rd realm lies in their own timeline. An understanding arose in Lin Yuan's mind. Without becoming a lord, no matter how much one grasps, they cannot sense the true essence of a lord. Only by becoming a lord, the past timelines gathered, leaving no more weak moments, and it's almost impossible to be killed in the weaker periods. Those capable of killing the past self of a lord can similarly kill the present and future self of the lord. Moreover, the convergence of future timelines connects them with the present, greatly eliminating the existence of other variables. After all, a large number of complicated, unnecessary future timelines are condensed, leaving only the future timelines needed by the Lord. This is also a kind of help for the subsequent paths of cultivation, removing the ineffective paths. Earlier than expected, Lin Yuan's face revealed a smile, even though the cultivation of the 3 lives method made him almost certainly a lord. But according to Lin Yuan's previous estimation, even with the 3 lives method, it would take him around 70 to 80,000 years, or even nearly 100,000 years, to fully step into the 3rd realm. Yet in this deepest part of one-way time-space, comprehending the special time-space fluctuations, observing the origin stone and abyss of calamity left by Lord Wanwei, and exchanging with other legendary lords, Lin Yuan managed to completely consolidate his timelines in just 60,000 years. And the influence of these 60,000 years on Lin Yuan was far beyond just stepping into the 3rd realm 30,000 years earlier. The origin stone and abyss of calamity left by Lord Wanwei gave Lin Yuan a deep understanding of the 2 transcendence paths of infinite origin and infinite tribulations, especially the abyss of calamity, which recorded all the calamity images experienced by Lord Wanwei and other lords. Numerous bizarre trials left Lin Yuan with deep sentiments. The first stage of the infinite tribulations path, with 36,200,000 tribulations, isn't very difficult. It merely involves going to some place within the vast dimensional gaps to complete a trial. The last few tribulations might involve going to past time, altering the slight progression of timelines. The second stage, with 1,800,000 tribulations, is very dangerous for a lord since some require the lord to abandon everything, leaving only a trace of mental will to descend to a special world with harsh rules to complete the trial. Lin Yuan pondered. The time loop world he entered, targeting the assassination of Emperor Defeng, is likely a Time Lord in the second stage. According to the harsh rules of the time loop world, it's probable that these are the last few tribulations within the 1,800,000 tribulations of the second stage. As for the third stage of 330 million tribulations, Lin Yuan's expression was slightly solemn. The tribulations in this stage correspond to the level of legendary lords, each tribulation being incredibly challenging. According to Lord Wanwei's summaries, the hardest part of the third stage's tribulations is needing to go to future times to prevent a certain event from happening. Lord Wanwei's experience in the 200 millionth tribulation of the third stage was traveling to the distant future to assassinate a special Time Lord. It was precisely because of this battle that Lord Wanwei completely lost confidence in the infinite tribulations path, even though they barely succeeded in passing the trial and instead chose to pursue perfect time being. This battle. Lin Yuan's brows slightly furrowed. Lord Wanwei mentioned the battle, but the critical parts had been erased. Supreme Rule Dao consciousness does not permit dissemination? Lin Yuan was thoughtful. Other legendary lords in the deepest regions speculated that it is the consciousness of Supreme Rule Dao that erased the critical information. What happened in the battle? Or was the Time Lord to be assassinated so special that it made Lord Wanwei realize they would never have hope on the infinite tribulations path? Lin Yuan was quite curious. For an existence like Lord Wanwei, who had faced countless tribulations, their mindset was exceptionally stable. For them to abandon a transcendence path nearing its end, how profound must the impact have been? Chaos Void. Buzz. As Lin Yuan stepped into the third realm, the essence of life began to transform, and mental will surged rapidly, easily penetrating the entire Chaos Void. Because Lin Yuan was a being of the Chaos Void did not resist them whatsoever, allowing Lin Yuan to easily detect a piece of information. That was that they could refine the entire Chaos Void, becoming the Master of Chaos Void. The Master of Chaos Void, even if the Chaos Void entered the Great Annihilation Cycle, would not need to leave and could still reside within the Chaos Void. One must know whether it is the Chaos Void or other top-dimensional spaces. Once the Great Annihilation begins, the time beings born there must leave. If not leaving, they will perish along with the Chaos Void's great annihilation. Furthermore, after completing a cycle of the great annihilation, the Chaos Void no longer accepts the return of the original time beings. Refining the Chaos Void, Lin Yuan would be able to stay in the Chaos Void regardless of how many great annihilation cycles have passed. Is this the benefit of becoming a Time Lord within a great annihilation cycle? To thoroughly refine a top-dimensional space? Lin Yuan pondered. Refining a top-tier dimensional space brings numerous benefits, starting with the protection of this top-tier dimensional space. Any attacks, even from a legendary lord like Lord Wanwei, are weakened by 99% after being obstructed by the top-tier dimensional space. A top-tier dimensional space like the Chaos Void is only comparable to a Time Lord in size, but it is shrouded in the supreme rule of the endless dimensional rules and can be considered the strongest means of self-preservation. Of course, the prerequisite for refining a top-tier dimensional space is to become a lord during a grand destruction cycle. Another prerequisite is that life must be born naturally in this dimensional space. Those time-life forms or lords who integrate themselves at great cost are not considered. Time-life forms or lords who forcibly integrate will be rejected by the entire dimensional space, and even if they regain the strength of a lord, they cannot succeed in refining it. Since the birth of the endless dimensional realms, Lin Yuan is estimated to be the first life to become a lord within a top-tier dimensional space during a grand destruction cycle, as it was never heard before that dimensional spaces could be refined. Even Lord Wanwei has not left any relevant information, and other legendary lords have never heard of such things. The other source worlds cannot be refined. Lin Yuan thought secretly, compared to normal top-tier dimensional spaces, the source worlds are much more special. Lin Yuan was not surprised by this. The three immortal emperors, including the three-life immortal emperor in the third source world, also became lords during a grand destruction cycle by using the special nature of the source world and still did not refine it. The third source world, because of the fall of the illusory world, can no longer be considered a typical source world, existing for far more than one grand destruction cycle. Lin Yuan thought to himself, this also highlights the special nature of the source worlds. Let it be. First refine the Chaos Void. Lin Yuan's mind stirred slightly, beginning to refine the entire Chaos Void. His inner universe now has surpassed the Chaos Void both in volume and size, but ultimately it was not nurtured by the awareness of the supreme rule, lacking some special charm. The most obvious difference is that the Chaos Void could nurture time-life forms one after another. However, Lin Yuan's inner universe cannot nurture true time-life forms. The spirit of the magic origin fruit tree, trapped in a time cycle, is also not nurtured by the inner universe but comes from the vast dimensional gap. Refining the Chaos Void benefits Lin Yuan in perfecting his inner universe on a microscopic level. Rumble. As Lin Yuan began refining, the entire Chaos Void was naturally affected. Countless great Daos, even the origin Daos, began to tremble, and time-life forms like Lord Mo Su sensed the commotion and showed up to investigate. What happened? Why does it feel like the aura of the Chaos Void is changing? Lord Mo Su and other time-life forms were extremely shocked. Suddenly, a message entered the minds of all time-life forms. I have crossed into the third realm, refining the Chaos Void. Lin Yuan's voice came, relieving the unease in the hearts of Lord Mo Su and other time-life forms. Yet what followed was even greater astonishment. The third realm? The Milky Way has become a lord. The time-life form Zhu Yin said in a daze. Time-life forms are divided into three realms, and the third realm is called a Time Lord. Unbelievable! Another time-life form exclaimed. Even though they saw the limitless potential in Lin Yuan, they didn't expect him to become a Time Lord so quickly. How long has it been since he stepped into the 13th tier? The Milky Way. The newly advanced time-life form Luoho was somewhat dumbfounded. With Lin Yuan's permission, he had meditated for tens of thousands of years in the Milky Way dimension, thinking he had narrowed the gap with Lin Yuan, only to realize he had already become a lord. I entered the 13th tier before the Milky Way. The newly advanced time-life form Luoho sighed. You just came in ahead of him. We've all been here for more than half a grand destruction cycle. Other time-life forms rolled their eyes. What all the time life forms didn't know was that although Lin Yuan has just transitioned into the third realm and reached the domain of a lord, his actual combat strength is above 99% of lords. Even among legendary lords, he's considered powerful. Never having experienced any endless tribulations, yet possessing such power, is unprecedented. The Milky Way refined the chaos void, so even if a grand destruction cycle occurs, we don't have to leave. Lord Mo Su said softly, and in the message Lin Yuan sent to their minds, he briefly introduced the benefits of refining the chaos void. After refining the chaos void, Lin Yuan is the true master of the chaos void, and if he wishes, even if they are not time life forms nurtured by the chaos void, they can also be allowed to enter. After Lin Yuan completely refined the chaos void, he gained insight into many of the essences of this top-tier dimensional space, and with his own accumulations, many bottlenecks that trapped him began to rapidly dissolve. Indeed, time life forms were excited. In the deepest part of one-way spacetime, after Lin Yuan completely refined the chaos void, he gained insight into many of the essences of this top-tier dimensional space, and with his own accumulations, many bottlenecks that trapped him began to rapidly dissolve. Wrong. Innate 5 Great, the direction of the third tie is wrong. Lin Yuan's eyes shone brightly. As early as 55,000 years ago, he had founded Tai Shi, the second tie of the Innate 5 Great. Innate 5 Great is the essence of Lin Yuan's life Tao fruit. The first tie is Tai Chu, and the second tie is Tai Shi. After comprehending the first two tie, Lin Yuan naturally wanted to extend and create the third tie based on these two tie. But he never took that final step, vaguely sensing something wrong. Now crossing into the third realm, becoming a Time Lord, his realm elevated, vision widened, and with the insights gained from refining the chaos void, he immediately discovered that the direction of the Innate 5 Great third tie was problematic. The third tie of the Innate 5 Great shouldn't be an extension of the first tie and the second tie, but their beginning. Lin Yuan was radiant, or rather, this tie is the true first tie, and the original Tai Chu and Tai Shi are the second and third tie. Lin Yuan stretched out his right hand. A brand new aura was born and condensed between his fingers. What I need to create should be the first tie in the Innate 5 Great, the true first tie Tai E. In the depths of Lin Yuan's eyes, 3 kinds of auras interwoven continuously, representing the 3 tai in the Innate 5 Great, Tai E, Tai Chu, and Tai Shi. The fourth tai. Lin Yuan began deducing the creation of the fourth tai, resetting the order of the first 3 tai in the Innate 5 Great. Lin Yuan immediately sensed that the fourth tai was not far away. Milky Way, congratulations. At this moment, the voice of the Purple Light Legendary Lord came. Lin Yuan's timeline comprehensively sealed, crossing into the third realm. The transformations brought by himself naturally could not be hidden from the Legendary Lords present. However, the Legendary Lords did not immediately speak up to disturb him, waiting until Lin Yuan stabilized his own aura to offer their congratulations. Lin Yuan looked up at the Purple Light Legendary Lord and smiled. I was able to step into the third realm so quickly, thanks to your guidance. Over the past 60,000 years of training, Lin Yuan often communicated with the Legendary Lords, and the Purple Light Legendary Lord provided Lin Yuan with much guidance. Even without me, you would have reached this point. The Purple Light Legendary Lord smiled. Milky Way, congratulations. Milky Way, congratulations on becoming a lord. The voices of other Legendary Lords also came one by one to offer their congratulations. All the Legendary Lords exhibited exceptional friendliness since Lin Yuan's future is terrifyingly significant. Naturally, if they could maintain a distance, they would maintain a distance, but if that wasn't possible and they had to make contact, then they would show their utmost kindness and enthusiasm. Milky Way, how do you feel? The Purple Light Legendary Lord looked at Lin Yuan. After becoming a lord, I realized my insignificance. Lin Yuan slightly shook his head, crossing into the third realm. The transformation of his heart and will allow him to directly perceive the existence of the supreme rule of the endless dimensional realms awareness. That is the power that runs through infinite dimensional realms, and even a legendary lord is insignificant before it. Each dimensional space and dimension heaven and earth operate under the will of the Supreme Rule Tao. Numerous timelines also extend within the allowable range of the Supreme Rule Tao. Even the birth of a time being and the tests of the time-cyclic world depend on the will of the Supreme Rule Tao. Thus, many powerful legendary lords jokingly claim, if not for the fact that the Supreme Rule Tao lacks specific consciousness and merely maintains the endless dimension operations instinctively, then it would be the only 14th rank perfect time being. Indeed, legendary lords seem powerful and mysterious, but in reality, they are quite pitiable. A legendary lord bathed in purple light gave a self-deprecating smile. At the level of legendary lords, there is essentially no more progress to be made, forcing them to choose from 3 transcendence paths whose probabilities approach 0. Even strong lords like Lord Wanwei eventually perished. Throughout the ancient days of old, more than just one legendary lord like Lord Wanwei has fallen. Many legendary lords fell silently, not even having the chance to establish something like the Myriad Realms Gate before passing completely like Lord Wanwei. Lin Yuan nodded. The stronger you become, the more insignificant you feel. Boundless tribulations. Lin Yuan's consciousness perceived the Supreme Rule Tao and likewise felt the boundless tribulations formed under its operation. All it takes is to connect one's mind with the will of the Supreme Rule Tao, and you can open the path of transcendence called boundless tribulations, where the Supreme Rule Tao will personally bestow tribulations. Lin Yuan must simply complete the trials to receive empowerment from the Supreme Rule Tao, slightly enhancing his own powers. No wonder many lords consider boundless tribulations as a transcendence path, as it surely isn't just directly sourced from the consciousness of the Supreme Rule Tao. Silently, Lin Yuan contemplated in his heart. After becoming a legendary lord, his mind and will directly connected with the Supreme Rule Tao's consciousness. And Lin Yuan clearly sensed each tribulation past increased the Lord's own strength. Although each tribulation doesn't increase by much, over 3 phases with billions of tribulations, it equates to billions of enhancements, and should he truly manage to pass, transcendence is inevitable. Especially the last phase of 330 million tribulations, corresponding to the level of a legendary lord, where each pass brings considerable improvement, enhancing both body and soul and even granting divine skill talents directly bestowed by the will of the Supreme Rule Tao. After becoming a legendary lord, I can vaguely perceive the approximate locations where I will arrive in the origin worlds. Lin Yuan appeared contemplative, his gaze distant as he looked in several directions. Over 60,000 years of cultivation, aside from the initial 4 origin worlds he descended upon, Lin Yuan subsequently arrived at the 5th origin world and the 6th origin world. The 5th origin world was an extremely typical cultivation world, but the 6th origin world was extraordinarily unique. The 6th origin world was not large, not even comparable to the Chaos Void, measuring roughly the size of a naturally formed universe within the Chaos Void. Moreover, the life forms within the universe were not powerful. The most powerful reached only the 6th rank. However, the rules of this origin world were terrifyingly formidable, being a special origin Tao after the complete integration of the phantasm and reality, 2 great origin Taos. In this world, the living beings could engage their minds into a virtual world from the moment of birth. For life forms within the origin world, the virtual world seemed fictitious. But in reality, it was authentic, representing the vast dimensional interstices outside this origin world. When life within the origin world enters the virtual world, they effectively replace formidable life forms in the dimensional interstices, utilizing their bodies to cultivate, hunt, and challenge the so-called bosses, namely the time beings. During the peak of the 6th origin world, it commanded the battle strength of tens of thousands of time beings and over a dozen time lords, nearly dominating the vastness of the dimensional interstices. If Lin Yuan hadn't descended upon that origin world through the Myriad Realms Gate, he couldn't have imagined a dimension so powerful yet essentially so fragile. The terrifying means of those time beings and time lords outside, surprisingly, are controlled by a group of weak beings who haven't even reached the 6th rank. Due to the integration of the phantasm and reality, this origin world sits between reality and fantasy. Even for legendary lords, locking onto its exact coordinates is impossible. Descending to such an origin world greatly benefited Lin Yuan in comprehending phantasm reality, alongside awakening the mystical physical body divine ability. Name: Lin Yuan. Identity: holder of the myriad realms gate. Bonded talent: heaven-defying comprehension. Divine power: blood resurrection. Divine power: move mountains. Divine power: strengthen. Divine power: elemental body. Divine power: world. Divine power: tear heaven. Divine power: fierce sun opening heaven. Divine power: Lord status. Divine power: past body. Divine power: return to origin. Divine power: feathering ascension. Divine power: phantom true body. A sequence of phantasmal text flashes below the site, reflecting the record of divine powers Lin Yuan has mastered as noted by the Myriad Realms Gate. The divine power, past body, is a physical body divine ability awakened by Lin Yuan in the Great Wilderness Origin World, originating from the three-life Immortal Emperor. With this divine power, Lin Yuan perfected the three-life arcana, paving the road to becoming a lord. Although past body doesn't directly bolster Lin Yuan's combat power, it saves an immeasurable amount of time and effort. Without such a divine power, merely consolidating individual timelines would take Lin Yuan tens of thousands to millions of years. How could he possibly cross into the third realm and become a lord within a mere 60,000 years? The divine skill, Return to Origin, is a physical body divine ability that Lin Yuan awakened in the fourth origin source world. This source world is in its nascent initial stage, and Lin Yuan was born within a piece of innate divine stone, becoming the first life to walk between heaven and earth in this source world. It was in this source world that Lin Yuan established the foundation of the innate five greats. The Return to Origin divine skill is a refining skill that can return everything to its origin. Theoretically, as long as Lin Yuan is given time, the endless dimensions could all be returned to their origin. But theory is only theory. To truly restore the entire chaos void, one must first have the Time Lords not obstructing, and then not have the will of the Supreme Rule Tao obstructing. Even so, this divine skill is extremely terrifying. As for the divine skill Feathered Ascension, it is an explosive skill that, when activated, greatly enhances everything about Lin Yuan, to an extent that can be seen as an unlimited enhancement version of the third divine skill enhancement. The final, Phantasm Reality Body, is a physical body divine ability that Lin Yuan awakened in that extraordinarily special source world. The Phantasm Reality Body is a passive divine skill, allowing Lin Yuan's physical body to freely switch instantaneously between reality and illusion. It must be understood that many time lives have comprehended the origin Tao of reality and illusion, and can transform their physical body between reality and illusion. Even back in Lin Yuan's home universe, the Magic Jade Tower Master, an invincible great saint, had created similar phantasm reality techniques. However, to switch instantaneously between phantasm and reality, that is very difficult to achieve, as phantasm and reality are diametrically opposed rule Taos. To switch instantaneously, one must completely fuse these two rule Taos. And the phantasm that the phantasm reality body converts into is an extremely complete illusion, to the point that even Lin Yuan himself cannot perceive whether he truly exists in that state. The various physical body divine abilities and the first three of the innate five greats, together with crossing into the third realm and becoming a Time Lord, Lin Yuan is very much looking forward to his own strength. First of all, he has certainly stepped into the level of the legendary lord. But to ascertain his specific position among the legendary lords, it requires careful confirmation. Purple Light, I've just entered the third realm. How about we spar a bit? Lin Yuan looked at the legendary Lord Purple Light before him. The easiest way to confirm his specific level of strength is to spar with an opponent of the same level. Currently, among the 8 legendary lords in the deepest parts of the Wanwei timespace, the legendary Lord Purple Light is the strongest, having passed the 90 millionth tribulation of the 300 million final tribulations. He is definitely considered a powerful legendary lord. Spar a bit. The legendary Lord Purple Light looked at Lin Yuan. The other 7 legendary lords had expressions of astonishment. If these words came from the mouth of another lord, it would be absurd. Being newly ascended to the 3rd realm and daring to think about sparring with a legendary lord? Especially a powerful legendary lord? Isn't this courting death? Although the Time Lords consolidate past, present, and future timelines, the legendary lords cannot completely eradicate everything of a Time Lord. But when facing a legendary lord, a Time Lord has only one outcome. That is to be crushed. Completely crushed. But the one who said these words is Lin Yuan. This future, infinitely terrifying galaxy lord? One by one, the legendary lords began considering who would win if the two sparred. It's not that they blindly believe in Lin Yuan's future. But through 60,000 years of interaction and exchange, they have come to understand Lin Yuan quite well. 60,000 years ago, while not having stepped into the 3rd realm yet, he had already touched the threshold of legendary lord. Now that he has entered the 3rd realm, his strength is clearly equated to a legendary lord. Spar! The legendary Lord Purple Light thought for a moment and smiled. All right, but Galaxy, you must be careful. I will. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. He also does not want the legendary Lord Purple Light to hold back, as that would not serve the purpose of verifying his own strength. Then I shall begin. The legendary Lord Purple Light stood there, raised his right hand, and gently pointed towards Lin Yuan. With this point, an endless boundless purple light blossomed, penetrating layers upon layers of time and space, covering down towards Lin Yuan. Of course, since it was merely a spar, the legendary Lord Purple Light did not go all out, but this strike used 70% of his power. Lin Yuan carefully felt the mysteriousness of the endless purple light. Not only is Lin Yuan curious about his extent of strength, but the legendary Lord Purple Light is also very curious, although he is certainly not the match for the future Lin Yuan. But now, legendary Lord Purple Light is still somewhat confident. Is this the chaotic origin Tao of purple light? Lin Yuan carefully felt the mysteriousness of the endless purple light. Every 2nd realm time life has comprehended their own chaotic origin Tao. Entering the 3rd realm will enhance the foundation of one's chaotic origin Tao, making the attack power increasingly terrifying, but the foundation remains the chaotic origin Tao. Purple light shines upon the world. Lin Yuan can't escape at all. However, Lin Yuan never thought of dodging, instead standing there quietly. Boom! Purple light pervades, instantly covering everything. Yet all the purple light penetrates directly through Lin Yuan's physical body, as if Lin Yuan didn't exist at all. Physical body, divine ability, phantasm reality body. At this moment, Lin Yuan completely transforms into illusion, resembling the vast dimension gaps of the void, bearing many chaotic origin Taos. Purple light, this slight trick can't touch me. Lin Yuan smiled at the legendary Lord of Purple Light. Bring out your trump card move. The legendary Lord of Purple Light's expression changed, carefully observing Lin Yuan, feeling incredulous. How can I not perceive the existence of the galaxy? Obviously standing there, yet I can't feel it, jumping out of space, and not in time. Where on earth is it? Galaxy, then I will use a killing move. If you can't hold on, say it immediately. The legendary Lord of Purple Light's eyes suddenly filled with endless purple meaning. Crackle! All things in the universe are filled with purple light. Even the 7 legendary lords watching the battle immediately choose to retreat, unwilling to be enveloped by the purple light. The terrifying purple light begins to penetrate layer upon layer of space-time again, trying to search for Lin Yuan's exact position. Lin Yuan is also standing there, letting the legendary Lord of Purple Light search for him, wanting to determine the upper limit of his divine ability. Dozens of breaths later, limitless purple light retreated, and again transformed into the shape of the legendary Lord of Purple Light. Galaxy, I can't find you. The legendary Lord of Purple Light sighed. Though unwilling to admit, yet can't be found means just can't find. The killing move earlier was the legendary Lord of Purple Light's strongest locked search method, and this move didn't work, which means all the legendary Lord's methods are ineffective. Galaxy, it's your turn. The legendary Lord of Purple Light looked at Lin Yuan and said, not being able to find Lin Yuan doesn't mean defeat. Mainly to see if Lin Yuan can pose a threat to him. Lin Yuan nodded slightly, his aura subtly changed. The powers of Tai Yi, Tai Chu, and Tai Shi within the innate five great collided and intertwined continuously, plus the divine skill, Feather Ascension Empowerment. For a moment, Lin Yuan's aura became extremely terrifying. Even though he did nothing, his own space-time began to quickly vanish. What is this? The legendary Lord of Purple Light took a deep breath. After observing for an instant, the legendary Lord of Purple Light immediately spoke. No need for sparring, Galaxy, you win. The legendary Lord of Purple Light clearly felt that the killing move Lin Yuan activated at the last moment had already threatened him. Unable to attack Lin Yuan, yet the opponent's move could threaten himself. Apparently, the outcome is determined only a matter of sooner or later. Purple Light admits defeat? The seven legendary lords watching from afar exchanged glances, their hearts difficult to calm. They knew Purple Light's strength. Even Self-Rendi was not a match. Ordinary legendary lords certainly weren't his opponents. Just sparring. There's no real win or lose. Lin Yuan responded immediately. Since it's sparring, real killing moves definitely wouldn't be employed. Lin Yuan never thought of defeating the legendary Lord of Purple Light, just determining the specific extent of his own strength. Galaxy, your current power likely exceeds that of a legendary lord who has undergone 1 billion calamities. The legendary Lord of Purple Light said. 1 billion calamities, legendary lord? The seven legendary lords afar inhaled sharply upon hearing. 1 billion calamities is a threshold among the legendary lords. Only by crossing this threshold can one dare to aspire to see the end of the path to transcendence. Chaos Void. Amid the restless speculations of time beings like Lord Mo Su, a figure materialized in the distance. It was Lin Yuan. After refining the entire Chaos Void, Lin Yuan slightly sensed the changes in the whole dimension space. He then sent an avatar to meet with Lord Mo Su and other time beings. After all, at this moment, the time beings like Lord Mo Su must be filled with questions. Why did Lin Yuan become a Time Lord so quickly? Milky Way. Milky Way. Lord Mo Su, Zhuyin, and other time beings immediately looked at Lin Yuan. I know what you are thinking and worrying about. Lin Yuan looked at the time beings, shook his head, and said, many things cannot be explained in a short time. You only need to know that I was born from the Chaos Void. In the eyes of time beings like Lord Mo Su, Lin Yuan's speed of growth seemed too fantastical. Was he a vessel nurtured by some terrifying being, and so on? Understood. The time beings like Lord Mo Su felt assured. They wholeheartedly believed Lin Yuan's words. After all, with Lin Yuan's current means of refining the entire Chaos Void, there was no need to lie to them. Even the strongest, like Lord Mo Su, was merely a first-realm time being, and had no ability to resist a third-realm lord. Their concerns were put to rest. Lord Mo Su curiously asked, Milky Way, what does it feel like to be a third-realm lord? The time beings who have lived through dozens, hundreds of cycles of great destruction might have encountered time lords. But time beings like Lord Mo Su, who have not yet experienced a full cycle of great destruction, have only heard about time lords. They only know that time lords should never be provoked. The essence of life has become much stronger, Lin Yuan explained, and one's own timeline has completed convergence, leaving no weak period from this time on. No weak period? Lord Mo Su, Zhuyin, and other time beings appeared envious. Time beings below the third realm always have flaws in their past, and the simplest way for lords to completely kill time beings is to go to the past and kill them. Lin Yuan said. Having refined the entire Chaos Void, this dimension space was under Lin Yuan's control, whether it was past or future. You needn't worry. The past of the entire Chaos Void is under my gaze. No lord can take action in the past time of Chaos Void. Lin Yuan said. Having refined the entire Chaos Void, this dimension space was under Lin Yuan's control, whether it was past or future. Which means, since the time beings like Lord Mo Su were born from the Chaos Void, Their past in the Chaos Void is equivalent to being under Lin Yuan's protection. Lin Yuan even had a feeling, as his strength increased, he could completely extract the Chaos Void from the timeline, making it so that time beings of the past and future could not observe the Chaos Void from the timeline. Thank you, Milky Way. The time beings like Lord Mo Su exchanged a glance and felt joy in their hearts. Doesn't this mean that when they venture outside in the future, they need not worry about threats from other lords? I heard there's a lord stationed in this dimensional gap region, and this lord is named Lord Chu Wei. Zhu Yin couldn't help saying, even though you've just entered the third realm, your strength shouldn't be any weaker than Lord Chu Wei, right? The time beings like Lord Mo Su and Zhu Yin have only heard of the fame of Lord Chu Wei, but have never met directly. However, with Lin Yuan's past performance when he first entered the first realm, he was already enough to battle with the second realm's gray ancestor, and now that he has entered the third realm, he should not be much weaker than the long-established Lord Chu Wei. Lord Chu Wei, huh? Lin Yuan's gaze was profound, looking in one direction, and the moment he mentioned the 4 characters of Lord Chu Wei, Lin Yuan established a shallow causal relationship with this lord, and along this causal line, all major true forms, numerous avatars, and various life-saving measures of Lord Chu Wei were under Lin Yuan's watch. With just a thought from Lin Yuan, all traces of the senior Time Lord in the current timeline would be forcibly erased. Although using methods from the past, Lord Chu Wei wouldn't completely die, but it would take endless years to recover. I should be a bit stronger than Lord Chu Wei, Lin Yuan said with a smile. A bit stronger? The time beings like Lord Mo Su were shaken in their hearts. They knew Lin Yuan very well. He never said anything he wasn't confident about. Since he said he was a bit stronger, then that renowned Lord Chu Wei was really not as good as Lin Yuan. While chatting with time beings like Lord Mo Su, Lin Yuan's true self began to elevate his consciousness, attempting to contact the will of the Supreme Rule Tao. Endless tribulations. Lin Yuan was quite curious about this path of transcendence, as it was the only one where the end could be seen. Therefore, after stepping into the third realm and becoming a Time Lord, the first thing Lin Yuan did was to see what his first tribulation on this path of transcendence would be. Buzz, the will of the Supreme Rule Tao descended, and the contents of Lin Yuan's first tribulation test flooded into his mind. Travel to the dimension space at these coordinates, and with a special purification method, repurify this dimension space? Lin Yuan checked the content of his first tribulation test. As for the special purification method, it also appeared in his mind along with the test of the first tribulation. An ordinary lord could master it with just a few years of study. Gene Yu Dimension. Information about the specific intelligence of the target dimension space surfaced in Lin Yuan's mind. The Gene Yu Dimension, similar to the Milky Way dimension, belongs to the few dimension spaces that do not repel foreign life forms. No time limit. It's not difficult, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Even though the Gene Yu Dimension, like the Chaos Void, repels foreign temporal beings. With the means of a Time Lord, one can integrate into it by paying the price. Moreover, the Gene Yu Dimension is not exclusive, and there is no time limit for this ordeal. Lin Yuan observed the abyss of calamity in the deepest regions of Wanwei spacetime, aware that many calamities have strict time constraints. If the trial is not completed within the stipulated time, it is considered a failure. They all say the first stage of the ordeal is not difficult for a lord, and now it seems true. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. At least the first ordeal he faced looked very simple. But even if it's simple, it must be taken seriously. Lin Yuan showed no intention of underestimating, as every ordeal within endless calamities, whether easy or difficult. If failed, he would be annihilated by the will of the Supreme Rule Tao. Lin Yuan did not want to stumble at a critical moment. The will of the Supreme Rule Tao is equivalent to half a 14th rank existence. If it personally annihilates, even if one can consume world-breaking origin force to resist, the expenditure of the world-breaking origin force would be like mountains and seas, and the force Lin Yuan has accumulated may not be enough. Well, it's right to go personally. Lin Yuan's true self got up and took a step, disappearing into the Chaos Void. Decades later, Lin Yuan finally traveled to the outskirts of the Gene Yu Dimension. In the vast dimensional gap, even a legendary lord has not explored to the end. Is that the Jin Yu dimension? Lin Yuan observed from afar a massive dimension space. Occupied by a Time Lord? Lin Yuan clearly sensed a formidable presence within the Jin Yu dimension, stemming from a Time Lord. Past space-time. Green Cliff Mountain. Time-space shop. The 12-eyed beast looked at Lin Yuan and smiled, saying, "The Jin Yu dimension is the territory of the Dragonstone Lord." Dragonstone Lord? Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful. Upon discovering the Jin Yu dimension was occupied by a lord, Lin Yuan did not act rashly. If he can purify the Jin Yu dimension in a peaceful way, Lin Yuan will definitely choose the peaceful approach. Using force to deal with the Dragonstone Lord? Lin Yuan was unsure of the Lord's control over the Jin Yu dimension. What if the Lord could destroy the entire dimension in an instant? Then even if Lin Yuan dealt with the Dragonstone Lord, there would be no Jin Yu dimension for him to purify, leading to the failure of the trial. Of course, the likelihood of this is extremely low, unless one has refined a dimension space thoroughly as Lin Yuan. Otherwise, even occupying a dimension space, a lord cannot cause it to collapse in a flash. Furthermore, even if the Dragonstone Lord had other means to instantly obliterate the Jin Yu dimension, Lin Yuan could spend world-breaking origin force to prevent it. But world-breaking origin force is so precious, it's best not to use it, unless necessary. Why am I asking this? The time-space shop owner curiously asked. For 60,000 years, Lin Yuan frequently visited the time-space shop to purchase resources, becoming acquainted with the 12-eyed beast. However, the 12-eyed beast did not know Lin Yuan was the galactic of one-way time-space. Asking for identity in a gathering place for lords like Green Cliff Mountain is impolite. In the eyes of the 12-eyed beast, Lin Yuan remained a lord with great potential in the future. "I need to borrow the Jin Yu dimension," Lin Yuan said. He did not reveal the Jin Yu dimension's connection to his endless ordeals. Borrow the Jin Yu dimension? The time-space shop owner frowned. The Dragonstone Lord is an special state and is not easy to deal with. Special state? Difficult to get along with? Lin Yuan looked at the 12-eyed beast. The path chosen by the Dragonstone Lord for transcendence is infinite origin. The owner of the time-space shop, the 12-eyed beast, explained, the infinite origin path to transcendence is extremely dangerous when exploring ancient time periods, especially when encountering the imprint remnants left by some terrifying beings. TSK. Lin Yuan listened quietly. The past time-space holds countless secrets. The more ancient it is, the greater the risk, and the calamity of being lost is just one of them. Even more unpredictable are the marks left by ancient beings, who have generally seen or even approached the end of a transcendence path but fell at the last moment, erased by the will of the Supreme Rule Dao. When the will of the Supreme Rule Dao descends to erase, no matter how powerful a legendary lord is, they must die with no chance of resurrection, but the grievances and remnants left by a few terrifying beings are difficult to dissipate and remain in the past time-space. The most dangerous thing for lords on the infinite origin path of transcendence is encountering these grievances and remnants, which can lightly influence and control one, or heavily cause the collapse of the mind and will. Affected by some remnant, the Dragonstone Lord is in a mad state, with few moments of clarity, making communication difficult, said the owner of the time-space shop. I see. Lin Yuan suddenly understood. The legendary Lord of Purple Light's self-deprecation that lords are pitiful is not without reason. Someone like the Dragonstone Lord who can still maintain basic clarity is lucky. You want to borrow the Golden Moon dimension? I can help negotiate with the Dragonstone Lord, but it will likely require some sands of time. The owner of the time-space shop said. Involving a dimensional space is certainly not done for free. The sands of time is not a problem. Lin Yuan immediately replied, for anything under 5 million caddies. Of sands of time, I agree. After the one-way time-space trip, Lin Yuan made a fortune holding billions of caddies of sands of time. That should work. The owner of the time-space shop nodded. 5 million caddies of sands of time is more than enough for a single use of the golden moon dimension. Not to mention, he would be handling it personally. Outside the golden moon dimension, at the place where Lin Yuan was, suddenly an intention descended, forming the shadow of the 12-eyed beast, which was the avatar of the owner of the time-space shop. I've already spoken with the Dragon Stone Lord. He will come out to speak with you personally later, said the 12-eyed beast. Lin Yuan nodded. Soon, in the distance, the golden moon dimension suddenly stirred up. Waves. A colossal black dragon phantom emerged. Dragon Stone. The 12-eyed beast immediately stepped forward, appearing in front of the black dragon's shadow. Lin Yuan also stepped up to follow. I've told you everything. This is the buyer, the 12-eyed beast. Introduced Lin Yuan. He just wants to borrow your golden moon dimension for 1,000,000 years. 50,000 caddies of sands of time is more than enough. Lin Yuan offered the price of 5 million caddies of sands of time, so the 12-eyed beast naturally wouldn't take it out directly. What do you want to use the golden moon dimension for? The Dragon Stone Lord looked down on Lin Yuan with a vaguely mad and chaotic aura. I'm quite interested in the operation of the origin Dao within the golden moon dimension and want to borrow it to comprehend for a while. Lin Yuan found an excuse casually. I see. The Dragon Stone Lord grinned. 50,000 caddies of sands of time is too little. Then how much do you need? Lin Yuan asked. 50 million caddies of sands of time. Not a caddy less. The Dragon Stone Lord stared at Lin Yuan. 50 million caddies of sands of time? The 12-eyed beast beside him nosed slightly. Dragon Stone, are you mad? 50 million caddies of sands of time? Your golden moon dimension isn't worth that much. Dragon Stone. Give me some face. 2 million caddies of sands of time. The 12-eyed beast said in a deep voice. Give you face. The Dragon Stone Lord seemed slightly impatient. Time-space, who do you think you are? You're not even a legendary lord, and you want me to give you face? The Dragon Stone Lord's tone started becoming frenzied. I am a returning ruins lord who has passed the final phase of the 3rd billionth calamity, about to reach transcendence, and you think you can bring up face with me? Returning ruins lord? The 12-eyed beast was quite helpless. Dragon Stone. The returning ruins lord perished long ago in the distant past time-space. Your mind and will have been influenced by the remnants left by the returning ruins lord in the past time-space. Wake up. I am the returning ruins lord, and the returning ruins lord is me. The Dragon Stone Lord laughed recklessly, staring intently at Lin Yuan. You have only 2 choices. Either hand over 50 million caddies of sands of time, or get as far away as possible. The mighty legendary lord. How could he fall into such madness? Lin Yuan had long known from the owner of the time-space shop that the Dragon Stone Lord was in a peculiar condition, influenced by ancient times, but it was still somewhat unexpected. The Dragon Stone Lord was not only mad, but had completely considered himself the returning ruins lord. He couldn't even maintain his own self. It can be imagined, if the returning ruins lord hadn't completely fallen. It's estimated that with a single thought, he could allow the Dragon Stone Lord to become a vessel for descent. Returning ruins lord? Some information about this legendary lord appeared in Lin Yuan's mind. Not much information related to the returning ruins lord has been passed down, only that this legendary lord was unimaginably powerful, having reached the final stage of the transcendence path, already past the 3rd billion tribulation. It's important to know the last stage of tribulations amounts to 3,300 tribulations, the 3rd billion, and the Dragon Stone Lord even mentioned the 3rd billion and 1,000th tribulation. Indeed, it was near the end of the transcendence path. The Lord Wanwei, who opened up the Wanwei time-space, had only passed the 200 millionth tribulation in the final stage. Such a powerful legendary lord. Did he also die in the end? Died in the subsequent tribulations? Lin Yuan thought quietly. Although he didn't know the specific strength of the returning ruins lord, just the remnants of his thoughts, separated by endless ages and different time spaces, made the Dragon Stone Lord lose himself and fall into madness, showing how terrifying it was. As the Dragon Stone Lord returned to the Gold Moon dimension, the owner of the time-space shop looked at Lin Yuan rather helplessly. It seems we'll have to wait a while, until the Dragon Stone Lord regains a little clarity before trading. The Dragon Stone Lord, under the influence of the returning ruins Lord remnants, occasionally becomes clear-headed. When he's clear-headed, the Dragon Stone Lord is basically a normal lord, unlike his current incomprehensible state. I had long warned Dragon Stone to be cautious when exploring ancient times. The owner of the time-space shop shook his head. He had known the Dragon Stone Lord for a long time, and they had many transactions in the long bygone years. In fact, the owner of the time-space shop had a wide network, at least being quite famous within the circle of second-tier lords. Without delving too far, just the past, present, and future of the Chaos Void alone were under Lin Yuan's gaze. If other lords dared to explore the past of the Chaos Void, Lin Yuan could suppress them with the power of the entire Chaos Void with just a thought. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to tell Lin Yuan earlier that invoking his name could be a lifesaver when encountering danger in the Wanwei timespace. The ancient times were indeed dangerous. Lin Yuan nodded. Without delving too far, just the past, present, and future of the Chaos Void alone were under Lin Yuan's gaze. If other lords dared to explore the past of the Chaos Void, Lin Yuan could suppress them with the power of the entire Chaos Void with just a thought. When will the Dragon Stone Lord probably regain clarity? Lin Yuan asked. The first tribulation of the endless tribulations has no time limit, but Lin Yuan still wanted to know how long it might take. At least 100 billion years, at most a few cycles of great collapse should suffice, the owner of the time-space shop estimated slightly. For a lord, a few cycles of great collapse are not considered long. 100 billion years? A few cycles of great collapse. Lin Yuan furrowed his brows. Talking about a few cycles of great collapse. Even just 100 billion years, Lin Yuan couldn't accept. What's wrong? Is it urgent? The owner of the time-space shop noticed the change in Lin Yuan's expression. That's quite long. Lin Yuan nodded, thought for a while, then said, If I can awaken the Dragon Stone Lord earlier, can we then trade normally? With those words, the owner of the time-space shop almost thought he heard wrong. To awaken the Dragon Stone Lord earlier? If that's truly the premise, a normal trade was indeed possible. But what method could free the Dragon Stone Lord from the returning ruins Lord influence and awaken him earlier? The owner of the time-space shop looked at Lin Yuan. If not for the tens of thousands of years they've known each other, seeing that Lin Yuan wouldn't speak without confidence, he almost thought Lin Yuan was talking nonsense. How do you plan to awaken the Dragon Stone earlier? The owner of the time-space shop steadied himself, still intending to listen to Lin Yuan's method. If you need my help, or perhaps from other lords, just say so, the owner of the time-space shop added. No need to trouble yourself that much. Lin Yuan shook his head, gaze fixed on the distant Gold Moon dimension. Through the Dragon Stone Lord state just now, and the connection with the Gold Moon dimension, there would be no need to meet the Dragon Stone Lord face-to-face just to ascertain. No need to trouble yourself that much? Lin Yuan had already concluded that the Dragon Stone Lord's control over the Gold Moon dimension was far from reaching a complete refining standard. Even less possible was the idea to obliterate this dimension space with a single thought. In fact, if not for the returning ruins Lord remnants pollution on the Dragonstone Lord, Lin Yuan viewing forward on the timeline would be excessively obscure and twisted. There would be no need to meet the Dragonstone Lord face-to-face just to ascertain. No need to trouble yourself that much? The owner of the time-space shop showed a puzzled look. However, in the next moment, the owner of the time-space shop's eyes widened in shock. Lin Yuan had his gaze fixed on the Gold Moon dimension, suddenly extended his hand. Whoosh! His hand, like the heavens collapsing, covering the cosmos, directly reached into the Gold Moon dimension. As a top-level dimension space, the Gold Moon dimension, though not repelling external temporal beings, naturally was heavily shrouded in restrictions being the Dragonstone Lord's domain. However, under this hand, the forces outside the Gold Moon dimension rapidly crumbled. This hand caused no damage to the gold moon dimension, but directly penetrated its depths, then gently gripped. Buzz, slight struggling ripples came, but instantly subsided. Immediately after, Lin Yuan's extended right hand retracted, withdrawing from the gold moon dimension's depths. Compared to the time when it ventured in, now Lin Yuan's hand was no longer empty, but instead held a fine shadow. If you magnified this slender shadow 1,000,000,000 times, you would discover a black dragon towering to the heavens and reaching across the earth. A black dragon comparable to the pinnacle dimensional space of Golden Moon Dimension. Yet at this moment, in Lin Yuan's palm, this black dragon seemed like an eel. Dragon Stone Lord? The time-space shop owner gazed blankly at the eel in Lin Yuan's hand. From Lin Yuan reaching out his right hand to retracting it, only an instant had passed. As a legendary lord with infinite origin as the core, the Dragon Stone Lord's strength was nearly at the limit of a second-level lord. Without such strength, it would be impossible to explore the ancient past spacetime. Approaching the second-level limit of lordship strength, and coupled with contamination from the remnants of the returning ruins lord, he seemed mad. It can be said that even a real second-level limit lord would not want to provoke the Dragonstone Lord. Who knows what other means the remnants left by the returning ruins lord might have, relating to an existence at the threshold of a transcendent path like returning ruins lord, which second-level lord dares to be careless. But now, as powerful as Dragonstone Lord, he was actually pulled out by Lin Yuan so effortlessly in his own lair? Legendary, at least the strength of a legendary lord? The time-space shop owner looked at Lin Yuan, his mind racing with thoughts. In the blink of an eye, countless pieces of information flashed through his mind. Exploring within the one-way spacetime, possessing means of a legendary lord. Yet not any legendary lord he had ever heard of. Thoughts gathered and merged in the time-space shop owner's mind, forming a name, Galaxy. The mysterious lord who appeared briefly in the one-way spacetime, finally taken away by several legendary lords in the deepest region. Lin Yuan gazed at the Dragon Stone Lord in his palm, trying to make him regain consciousness. The simplest method was, of course, to directly suppress him. Then Lin Yuan could help him temporarily recover his sanity. Even just a remnant will left by a terrifying existence like the returning ruins lord, no second-level lord would dare to approach, but Lin Yuan is different. His strength and means had already reached the level of a legendary lord at the final stage of billions of tribulations. With the myriad realms gate suppressed in the deepest part of his mind, even if the returning ruins lord resurrected, he couldn't affect Lin Yuan's mental will, let alone just a remnant will. The Dragon Stone Lord will probably wake up in a moment. Lin Yuan glanced at the time-space shop owner standing beside him and spoke. Okay. The time-space shop owner jolted awake, then cautiously asked, "Are you Lord Galaxy?" Although he speculated that Lin Yuan was the mysterious Lord Galaxy in the one-way spacetime. Speculation was ultimately speculation. Yes. Lin Yuan nodded. Indeed, the mysterious Galaxy. The time-space shop owner's heart trembled. As a lord with extensive connections, there was no way to keep from him the happenings in the one-way spacetime. And the biggest event this time in the opening of one-way spacetime was the mysterious Galaxy Lord. Not only did he show his future self stepping into the realm of legend, he was also personally greeted by the legendary lords in the deepest region of one-way spacetime. Combining various pieces of information, the lords have already speculated that the future of the Galaxy Lord is likely to be someone unimaginable. Otherwise, how could he have been met proactively by the few deepest legendary lords while still not yet a legendary lord? I didn't expect the Galaxy Lord whom other lords are extremely curious and in awe of, I had already known? The time-space shop owner thought with immense emotion. During this period, many lords had naturally sought him out for information on the Galaxy Lord, but the time-space shop owner himself was extremely curious and had no clue. Lord Yi Wu. The time-space shop owner suddenly thought of the Lord of Yi Wu, involuntarily feeling sympathetic. If Lord Yi Wu had accepted Lin Yuan back then, wouldn't he have established a connection with the mysterious Galaxy Lord? That is a great opportunity that many second-level extreme lords desire but cannot obtain. In the end, not only did Lord Yi Wu fail to grasp this opportunity, he also left a bad impression on Lin Yuan. Soon, dozens of breaths later, the struggling Dragon Stone Lord in Lin Yuan's palm gradually calmed down. I am the Dragon Stone. The Dragon Stone Lord's eyes regained clarity and then fell into even greater shock. Where is this? Looking up, 5 gigantic pillars that seemed endless connected the heavens and the earth. A vast oppressive force filled the surroundings, and the Dragon Stone Lord felt he couldn't move at all. The next moment, the world changed. The Dragon Stone Lord appeared in the outside world. He saw a young man and a 12-eyed beast. Who are you? The Dragon Stone Lord recognized the 12-eyed beast, but the young man was utterly unfamiliar. Yet all the pressure around stemmed from the young man. Dragon Stone, this is Lord Galaxy. You are conscious thanks to Lord Galaxy's intervention. The time-space shopkeeper immediately reminded him. Lord Galaxy? The Dragonstone Forest Master had never heard of this title. But the oppressive force that filled the heavens and earth was indisputable, and he immediately bowed towards Lin Yuan. Dragonstone greets. Lord Galaxy. Lin Yuan nodded and looked at the Dragonstone Lord, saying, I am here to make a transaction with you, to borrow the Golden Moon Dimension for a period. If there's anything you want, feel free to say it. Lin Yuan said with a smile. Borrow the Golden Moon Dimension? The Dragonstone Lord glanced at the Golden Moon Dimension, behind him, then at the time-space shopkeeper, and immediately said, Dragonstone is willing to offer the Golden Moon Dimension to Lord Galaxy, and all my possessions, totaling 7,200,000,000 pounds of time sand. The Dragonstone Lord said respectfully, Offer the Golden Moon Dimension to me? Lin Yuan looked at the Dragonstone Lord with interest. Offering the Golden Moon Dimension would be akin to completely giving this top-notch dimensional space to Lin Yuan. This was far more costly than just borrowing it for a time. Moreover, the Dragonstone Lord was also handing over all his possessions, over 7 billion pounds of time sand. What do you want? Lin Yuan asked. I only ask for Lord Galaxy to resolve the returning ruins Lord residue for me, the Dragonstone Lord said in a low voice. Resolve the returning ruins Lord residue? Lin Yuan thought for a moment and said, I can't guarantee it, but even if I can't completely resolve it, I can suppress part of it, extending the time you remain conscious. Based on the previous interaction with the returning ruins Lord residue, Lin Yuan was confident he could handle it, as it was just a residue and separated by unknown time and space. No matter the outcome, I accept it. The Dragonstone Lord immediately turned to the time-space shopkeeper. Time-space, transfer all the time sand I left in your store to Lord Galaxy. No problem. The time-space shopkeeper nodded. The time-space shop not only handled purchases and sales but also served as a bank, where many time lives deposited their time sand. Because the time-space shopkeeper had such a reputable name, Time Lives trusted him greatly. Then I will begin. Lin Yuan said no more, his gaze falling on the Dragonstone Lord. Buzz. The Dragonstone Lord immediately felt his mental will fall. He didn't resist, instead letting himself drift off into sleep. Lord of Returning Ruins. Lin Yuan simultaneously activated the forces of Tai Yi, Tai Chu, and Tai Shi, 3 of the innate 5 great, beginning to expel the residue pollution deep in the Dragonstone Lord's body, soul, and mind, truly befitting a lord near the end of the path to transcendence. Lin Yuan marveled in his heart. Though he wasn't giving his all, he wasn't far off, but in expelling the returning ruins Lord residue, he still hadn't reached an overwhelming suppression. However, it was only a matter of time before expelling the returning ruins Lord residue. Several days later, amid the clash of forces from Tai Yi, Tai Chu, and Tai Shi of the innate 5 great, the residue pollution deep within the Dragonstone Lord's body, soul, and mind was instantly driven to a certain place. These residue pollutions converged, suddenly forming a blurry figure. Originally filled with madness and frenzy, the residue pollution rapidly calmed upon merging into this blurry figure. I am returning ruins, not knowing if you come from the past or the future. The blurry figure spoke. But if you are on the path of infinite tribulation, after surviving the third billionth tribulation, among the final 3,000 tribulations bestowed by the Supreme Rule Tao, one tribulation sends you to a certain time and space to prevent ascending the new path of transcendence. At this moment, the tone of the blurry figure suddenly filled with unwillingness and regret. Don't go. Absolutely don't go. The blurred figure is the remnant left by the returning ruins lord in the past. Madness is only its surface. Essentially, it is to leave a piece of information, or rather a message. Don't go. Absolutely don't go. Even though they were separated by different times and spaces, and not facing the returning ruins lord himself, Lin Yuan still felt the other's intense resentment and grievance. The key part has been erased again. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. He completely understood the warning left by the returning ruins lord's remnant. The last 3,000 tribulations in the third stage of the endless calamities, consisting of 330 million tribulations, were very likely meant to prevent someone from ascending a path of transcendence. But who is this existence? And which time-space and during which time period? It remains unknown. Without these two premises, the significance of this information is actually not very great, because there's simply no way to prevent it. One can't just abandon the endless calamities path of transcendence because of this warning, right? Besides, apart from the endless calamities path of transcendence, the other two paths of transcendence are also not easy to traverse, filled with hidden dangers everywhere. It seems to be the handiwork of the Supreme Rule Tao again. Lin Yuan thought to himself, convinced that the returning ruins lord's remnant would not deliberately erase crucial information. Even under extreme obsession, the returning ruins lord's remnant would only reveal crucial information, at the very least those core words. But now there is none. And this forceful erasure method, Lin Yuan had already seen more than once. The last time was in the Abyss of Calamity, left by Lord Wanwei. Deepest part of Wanwei time-space. In front of the Abyss of Calamity, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, observing the various calamities recorded within the Abyss of Calamity. Some were experienced by Lord Wanwei, and others by different lords. On the endless calamities path of transcendence, the returning ruins lord far surpassed Lord Wanwei. The former had already passed through the last stage of 330 million tribulations, needing only 2,000 more to complete this path of transcendence, while Lord Wanwei had only passed through the 200 millionth tribulation of the last stage. The last tribulation of the Abyss of Calamity was the final tribulation passed by Lord Wanwei himself. Images flickered, finally settling on the tall figure of Lord Wanwei. Lord Wanwei's skin appeared silvery white, like layered time-space. He clasped his hands behind his back, muttering, "My 200 millionth tribulation was to travel to a distant future time-space to kill a being. I paid a terrible price, but I finally succeeded. Just that when I returned to the present time-space from that future time-space, I mistakenly entered a chaotic time-space in that space." The next words of Lord Wanwei were erased. At the end of the scene was a bitter smile from Lord Wanwei. "I never thought my Wanwei would have a day like an ant seeing the sky." Lin Yuan had watched many times. It was after passing the 200 millionth tribulation that Lord Wanwei chose to pursue the perfect time being. What on earth did the will of the Supreme Rule Tao erase? Is there any connection between what Lord Wanwei and the returning ruins lord went through? Lin Yuan was quite curious. Setting aside the returning ruins lord, to make such a strong being as Lord Wanwei have a fractured mind and voluntarily abandon the selected path of transcendence, it wasn't simply due to strength alone, but rather seeing no hope at all. If it were due to encountering a stronger being, it wouldn't have pushed Lord Wanwei to make such a decision. However, all of this is still far from me. Lin Yuan thought silently. He was just beginning to embark on the endless calamities path of transcendence, not to mention the 330 million tribulations of the third stage. Even the first stage was uncertain how many epochs it would take to cross. Speculating the affairs of Lord Wanwei and the returning Ruins Lord is still too early. Outside the Gold Moon dimension, after assembling the remnant of the returning Ruins Lord and delivering the intended message, it quickly dissipated. In fact, the returning Ruins Lord left this remnant solely to convey the intended message with no other purpose. The reason the Dragon Stone Lord was affected to the point of losing self-control was completely because he was too weak and couldn't bear the message the returning Ruins Lord wanted to transmit. Along with the dissipation of the remnant, the Dragon Stone Lord gradually awoke from slumber. The Dragon Stone Lord felt unprecedentedly light, and the usual chaos within his mind and will was no longer present, as though a divine mountain off his shoulders was removed. The pollution from the returning Ruins Lord's remnant is gone? The Dragon Stone Lord was overjoyed and immediately bowed to Lin Yuan. Thank you, Lord Galaxy. The Dragon Stone Lord sincerely thanked Lin Yuan, even though he had paid with a top-level dimension space and all his possessions. The sand of time. But all of these were far less than his own self. Don't celebrate too early. Lin Yuan waved his hand. I have only eradicated the remnant. Pollution in your physical soul and deep in your mind for now. Whether it has been completely eradicated and whether there are residuals in your mind cannot be assured. Involving such terrifying beings as the returning Ruins Lord, even just a remnant can't be underestimated. Especially since the Dragon Stone Lord's own strength was not strong. He had no resistance against the remnant, possibly having it parasitize his mind without even knowing. However, even if there were any hidden dangers, without the support of the main remnant, the remaining impact on the Dragon Stone Lord would be much smaller. Moreover, based on Lin Yuan's previous eradication efforts, the majority of the returning Ruins Lord's remnants were likely already locked away. I know this, the Dragon Stone Lord immediately said. Then Dragon Stone won't disturb Lord Galaxy. The Dragon Stone Lord said cautiously. All right. Lin Yuan nodded. Next, he needs to complete the test of his first trial, purifying the Golden Moon dimension. Lord Galaxy, then I'll take my leave as well. The shopkeeper of Timespace Shop did not dare to linger. When unaware of Lin Yuan's true power, the shopkeeper of Timespace Shop dared to stand by. But having witnessed Lin Yuan's actions and the rumored Galaxy Lord, the shopkeeper of Timespace Shop suddenly felt immense pressure, no longer daring to continue the conversation with Lin Yuan. All right. Lin Yuan glanced at the shopkeeper of Timespace Shop. Quickly, the two lords disappeared. Golden Moon Dimension. Lin Yuan turned to look at the Golden Moon Dimension, and a vast spiritual power immediately enveloped it. Before beginning to purify the dimensional space, Lin Yuan certainly needed to understand the situation of this dimension, the empty dimensional gap region. The figure of the Dragon Stone Lord appeared, and next to him, the figure of the shopkeeper of Timespace Shop emerged. Timespace, what exactly is Lord Galaxy's origin? Such power. The Dragon Stone Lord couldn't help but ask. Initially, when polluted by the lingering thoughts of the returning Ruins Lord, the Dragon Stone Lord spent a significant cost to meet a certain legendary lord. But the other party didn't intend to intervene. The pollution of the returning Ruins Lord's lingering thoughts was something ordinary legendary lords were unwilling to touch. However, Lin Yuan spent merely a few days to mostly eradicate it. This level of power is definitely not that of a common legendary lord. Lord Galaxy, even the shopkeeper of Timespace Shop felt puzzled. When Lin Yuan acted in the Wanwei timespace, he displayed methods at the level of a legendary lord, but that was in the future. As for the present timespace, he is not a legendary lord. Otherwise, he couldn't have been forced out of the future self by the Blood Sea Lord. Just now, effortlessly lifting the Dragon Stone Lord and easily eradicating the lingering thoughts of the returning Ruins Lord that no legendary lord dared to touch. This terrifying power probably belongs to the strong among the legendary lords. In short, remember, never offend Lord Galaxy. Unable to understand, the shopkeeper of Timespace Shop just responded perfunctorily to the Dragonstone Lord. Even if I have the courage, I wouldn't dare offend Lord Galaxy. The Dragonstone Lord shrank his head. He personally faced a part of the force displayed by Lin Yuan when he acted, the kind of oppressive feeling beyond comprehension likely to be unforgettable for a lifetime. Golden Moon Dimension. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, carefully experiencing every detail of this top-notch dimensional space. Unlike the Chaos Void and Milky Way dimension, the origin Tao of this dimensional space is named Golden Moon Origin Tao, possessing both utmost firmness and utmost in characteristics. A decent origin Tao. Lin Yuan slightly nodded at his level. A few glances at an ordinary origin Tao are enough to understand. Against heaven's understanding combined with the life height of a lord greatly reduces the usefulness of ordinary top-level dimensional spaces for Lin Yuan. Why does the Supreme Rule Tao will want me to purify this dimensional space? Lin Yuan didn't immediately start the purification method but fell into brief contemplation. At present, it seems this dimensional space has nothing special. The dimensional origin Tao is rare, but across the vast dimensional gaps, countless special origin Taos exist unknown. The Golden Moon origin Tao is not particularly outstanding. Never mind, better to neurify it soon. After sensing for a while and noticing nothing unusual, Lin Yuan began to operate the purification method. The purification method originates from the Supreme Rule Tao will, simultaneously appearing in Lin Yuan's mind with the test content of his first trial. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the purification method operated, an invisible aura began to permeate the depths of the Golden Moon dimension. Time-space. This invisible aura didn't possess any corrosive characteristics but continuously spread until it encompassed the entire Golden Moon dimension. According to the purification method information, it only needs to be maintained for 100 years. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The specific content of his Endless Trials first test is purify the Golden Moon dimension for 100 years. In fact, the difficulty of this trial is not great. The only thing that needs to be resolved is the Dragonstone Lord. The Dragonstone Lord's power is close to the extreme of the second layer Lord. Not too strong. Even if his state is chaotic and special, one can wait for him to regain clarity and attempt a transaction. After all, there's no time limit on this trial's test. Even if it isn't a monstrous lord like Lin Yuan, but an ordinary time lord. Completing this ordeal isn't difficult. It's just a matter of being a little later. Even if he doesn't establish a clear agreement with the Dragonstone Lord, he can wait until the Dragonstone Lord is driven completely insane by the lingering thoughts of the returning Ruins Lord. According to the Dragonstone Lord's condition, at most after a few dozen great destruction cycles, he won't even be able to maintain the basic occasional clarity. At time, it's estimated that he'll rush out of the Golden Missouri dimension in madness, rumbling. With the passage of time, the purification method continuously operated. 90 years later, Lin Yuan keenly noticed that threads of black aura were being driven out by the purification method. These auras. Lin Yuan observed the threads of black aura. The black aura emitted an essence completely opposite, even diametrically opposed to the infinite dimensional planes. This aura can lead to the irreversible destruction of dimensional space, with no so-called rebirth. Lin Yuan's expression was slightly solemn. The destruction and rebirth of dimensional space is the operational law of the vast dimensional planes. Whereas irreversible destruction means no rebirth, so-called destruction is absolute destruction. This obviously violates the operational laws of the Supreme Rule Taos. Will I see? Lin Yuan's expression was thoughtful. The so-called infinite tribulation path of transcendence essentially drives lords to resolve anything that violates the operational laws of the Supreme Rule Tao. Buzzing, the black aura continuously seeped out, but finally, in the 99th year, the seeping black aura quickly diminished. By the 100th year, no matter how Lin Yuan operated the purification method, he couldn't drive out any thread of black aura. It's over. Seeing this, Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Clearly, the black aura present within the golden moon dimension had been completely purified. However, the first ordeal required purification for 100 years, so he still needed to wait for the 100th year to pass to be considered as having overcome this ordeal. Boom! The will of the Supreme Rule Tao descended, and Lin Yuan immediately knew he had passed the first ordeal. In the next moment, a mysterious force poured into Lin Yuan's body. Under the nourishment of this force, Lin Yuan's physical, spiritual, and mental will slowly improved. A few breaths later, this improvement stopped. Is this the benefit of passing the infinite tribulation? Lin Yuan thought to himself. The infinite tribulation path of transcendence became the most well known for reasons beyond its clear targets. More importantly, after overcoming each ordeal, one can immediately receive feedback, which means an increase in power. It's average. Lin Yuan assessed the changes in his strength before and after and concluded passing the first ordeal had only a minimal impact on his strength growth. But Lin Yuan wasn't surprised by this. First, because he only passed the first ordeal of the infinite tribulation. Is considered the easiest ordeal. The improvement shouldn't be significant. Secondly, Lin Yuan's starting point was already immensely strong. His inherent power was so vast that minor improvements were difficult to notice. Take it slow, Lin Yuan thought to himself. If one ordeal doesn't provide a significant boost, then what about 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, or even a billion ordeals? The quantitative change leads to a qualitative change, not to mention the trials of the second layer, the trials of the third layer, which provide far more enhancement for a lord than those of the first layer. The second ordeal. After completing the first ordeal, Lin Yuan immediately began preparing for the second ordeal. With his power, he could pass any ordeal before the third stage, without any suspense. And he had the world-breaking origin force as a fail-safe method. And so, time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 years had gone by. Somewhere in the vast dimensional rift, a terrifying crack stretches across, its destination unknown. Every moment, it emits an inexplicable aura that assimilates the space in the dimensional rift, like a giant abyssal mouth devouring everything it can. Far from this terrifying crack, there are dimensional spaces. Yet under the continuous suction of the crack, these dimensional spaces slowly move towards it. It can be foreseen that once the dimensional spaces approach the crack, they will be completely consumed without hesitation. It's here. Lin Yuan's figure appears nearby, gazing from afar at the crack that devours the universe. Is the target of my last trial in the first phase of 36,002,000 tribulations to completely seal this crack? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Since entering the third realm and becoming a Time Lord 10,000 years ago, most of Lin Yuan's energy and focus have been dedicated to the path of transcendence known as infinite tribulations. Infinite origin has an unclear goal, as no one knows the source of time, and perfect time being relies too much on fate. Lin Yuan is unwilling to gamble his destiny. After much consideration, only infinite tribulations seem relatively reliable among the three paths of transcendence. Even though there may be significant risks when the road nears its end, the early and mid-stages are quite safe, and each tribulation successfully overcome leads to a real and tangible increase in strength. This is the feedback from the endless dimensional realm, even for someone as strong as Lin Yuan. 1 tribulation, 10 tribulations, 100 tribulations may not make much difference. But the cumulative enhancements from completing 10,000 millions, billions of tribulations are still quite substantial. Once the objective was clear and capable of completing the initial dozens of tribulations and understanding the difficulty ahead, Lin Yuan then gradually unleashed himself and started multiple hundreds of tribulations simultaneously. Then he sent avatars to complete them. This is the reason Lin Yuan was able to complete 36,002,000 tribulations in just 10,000 years. If he were to go through each tribulation individually, not even 10,000, 100,000, a million, or a billion years would be enough to pass 36 billion 2000 tribulations. Of course, only Lin Yuan dared to simultaneously activate dozens to hundreds of tribulations. Firstly, his strength is strong enough that the trials in the first phase of infinite tribulations pose no difficulty for him. Secondly, he has the world-breaking origin force as a safety net. Even if he encounters a particularly tricky tribulation, the world-breaking origin force can be spent to forcibly pass. And the facts show that in 10,000 years, Lin Yuan has never used the world-breaking origin force for 36 billion 2000 tribulations. He mainly relied on his own strength to overcome them. In the second stage of tribulations, more caution is needed. Lin Yuan watched the terrifying crack in the distance, while planning in his mind. In the first stage of tribulations, the goal was essentially to complete a specific target, so Lin Yuan dared to activate multiple tribulations simultaneously. But the second stage of tribulations? There's a small chance that Lin Yuan's mental might be dragged into a special world, requiring him to pass tests within this special world, similar to entering the time cycle world to become a time being. Once such tribulations are encountered, Lin Yuan might not be able to divide his attention to manage other tribulations concurrently. My current strength. Lin Yuan felt the immense force within him, akin to dimensional spaces, a smile emerging on his face. The increase brought by 36 billion 2000 tribulations is indeed impressive. Moreover, combined with Lin Yuan's own cultivation, creation of the fourth Tai Su in the innate five great and subsequent exploration of the origin world, his strength soared, far surpassing his power 10,000 years ago. I wonder how my strength compares to a legendary lord who has undergone 3 billion tribulations? Lin Yuan was quite curious. 10,000 years ago, the Purple Light legendary lord could exchange some moves with him. But now, the Purple Light legendary lord is simply not his match, and Lin Yuan's virtual true form ensures he stands inherently undefeated. As for other offensive maneuvers, even a slight ripple is enough to nearly annihilate the Purple Light legendary lord. It's a pity there's no real legendary lord who has undergone 3 billion tribulations to spar with me. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly, feeling a sense of regret. Although his power is fearsome, his experience over the years remains too short. To this day, he has never met a true legendary lord of the 3 billion tribulations. Legendary lords who have undergone 3 billion tribulations have almost seen the end of the Transcendence Road and the returning Ruins Lord is at this level. Such legendary lords, even a mere retreat or slumber, spans entire cycles of cataclysm, and their presence can no longer be defined by spatial dimensions. They are likely roaming in a distant past or future. Unless a significant event occurs in the present time-space, it's impossible to lure these lords back. But the innate fifth Tai, deep within Lin Yuan's eyes, for interweaving powers subtly exist. Tai Yi, Tai Chu, Tai Shi, Tai Su. The 4 innate Tai are intertwining, intending to give birth to the fifth Tai. Take it slow. I still have plenty of time. Lin Yuan contained his thoughts, continuing to observe the terrifying crack in the distance. According to the Supreme Rule Tao's will in descending tribulations, the existence of this crack opposes the endless dimensional realm's operation. Lin Yuan thought, the source that devours everything? Even dimensional spaces are not exempt. Indeed, it stands in opposition to the endless dimensional realm. If this terrifying crack is left unchecked, and the Supreme Rule Tao's will doesn't intervene, the consequences could be extremely dire. For an ordinary time lord of the first stage, sealing this rift might require a significant sacrifice, perhaps even calling upon friends. No wonder it's considered the final calamity of the first phase. Lin Yuan smiled slightly. Yet for me, it's still quite simple. After observing the rift for a brief moment, Lin Yuan had understood enough to proceed with the sealing. Whoosh! The very next moment, Lin Yuan appeared near the terrifying rift. The frightening pull from the rift couldn't shake Lin Yuan in the slightest. With Lin Yuan's arrival, from the depths of the terrifying rift, waves of will suddenly emanated. If you don't want to die, scram. These waves of will were laced with a cold, ruthless tone. Before you, many like you have tried to seal me, yet I've devoured them all. Oh! Lin Yuan was slightly moved. The existence of a will in the depths of the terrifying rift wasn't unexpected. But according to the other party, there had been lords here before attempting a sealing, only to fail? It seems the first stage of the endless calamity isn't guaranteed to be overcome. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The first phase consists of 3.6 billion and 2,000 calamities, usually manageable with caution, but mishaps occur, and some lords don't succeed. Lords who failed to seal the terrifying rift naturally met a singular fate. That is, they were erased by the will of the Supreme Rule Tao. What about you? Do you wish to be devoured by me as well? The will from the depths of the rift asked with growing interest upon seeing Lin Yuan remain. These words were meant to lure Lin Yuan closer, for the devouring of such powerful lifeforms could nourish it. I believe you won't be able to devour me. Lin Yuan stepped forward again, approaching the very edge of the terrifying rift. Ha 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 ha, fool. The will from the depths of the rift burst into laughter, and the nearby suction surged dramatically. Even space-time itself rushed toward the rift. Tai. With a fleeting thought, Lin Yuan summoned a wisp of Tai power, transforming it into chains that began to cover the terrifying rift. To ensure a swift resolution without prolonging the ordeal, Lin Yuan intended to seal the rift at full speed without holding back. Buzz the seemingly inconspicuous Tai power, as it stretched over the terrifying rift, grew larger and thicker, obscuring the sky and rapidly ensnaring the rift. What a terrifying method! You must be the strongest among those who seek to seal me. The will from the depth conveyed its sentiment again. Yet, merely with these you cannot seal me. Tai Chu. With another subtle thought, Lin Yuan gathered Tai Chu power, continuing to weave them into chains to cover the terrifying rift. Tai and Tai Chu, as the forefront of the innate five great, rapidly formed two fundamentally different chains, instantly encompassing and enveloping the entire terrifying rift. Given Lin Yuan's current strength, even a casual display of these two powers was terrifying to the extreme, thoroughly severing the pervasive suction in the surrounding spacetime. ZZZZZ. The chains formed by Tai and Tai Chu power imprisoned the terrifying rift, instantly beginning to refine and seal it. An intangible aura permeated the confinement of the chains, causing the terrifying rift to continuously collapse upon contact with the combined power of these two forces. Such a method, at most, will only allow me to dash the will from the depth. Initially felt there was nothing noteworthy. But in just half a moment, the intangible aura extinguished half of the terrifying rift. What kind of method is this? No, you can't seal me. I can offer you benefits. The last word remained unfinished, as no further sound or will emanated. For the entire terrifying rift had been completely isolated and sealed. The intangible aura even penetrated the deepest parts of the rift, heavily wounding that will. Benefits? What benefits could you offer me? Lin Yuan was unfazed. Through enduring the 3.6 billion and 2,000 calamities, he had gained an understanding of entities similar to the will within rift depths. They were nothing more than parasitic worms in the infinite dimensions, remnants of a malfunctioning Tao operation. Could the benefits they offer surpass the feedback from the infinite dimensions? Furthermore, bypassing the will in the rift depths would mean Lin Yuan's failure, provoking the Supreme Rule Tao to personally obliterate him. Lin Yuan naturally knew the choice he had to make. From afar, in the numerous dimensional spaces, strong entities sensed their home dimensions moving toward the terrifying rift but found themselves helpless. Without the power of a stage 13-time lifeform, they couldn't survive long after leaving their dimensions. Originally, these strong beings could only wait desperately as their home dimensions edged closer to being entirely consumed by the rift. But as Lin Yuan took action, they stood dumbstruck as the rift they had deemed hopeless was rapidly vanishing. Which great being has saved us? The beings within each dimensional space worshipped fervently, never witnessing who intervened. Yet they revered and admired the Unseen savior. It's over. Within just half a breath, the terrifying rift completely vanished. The sweeping refining power of Tai and Tai Chu did not allow the terrifying rift any resistance. Other Time Lords, even if they could seal the terrifying rift, would have to spend countless ages, enduring possibly tens or hundreds of great destructive cycles, inching their way to seal the will in the rift depths. But for Lin Yuan, resolving everything in less than half a breath, it was an absolute display of overwhelming power. In the following moment, boom, the feedback from the infinite dimensions poured into Lin Yuan's body. As the final calamity of the first stage, its difficulty far surpassed the previous billions of calamities, naturally leading to a greater feedback intensity. It took Lin Yuan dozens of breaths to conclude the feedback state. Not bad. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Although the power gain was modest, there was still more to follow. The second stage's calamities should provide feedback no less significant than this one after each trial. Time to head back. Lin Yuan didn't bother checking anything further. He turned and left, with even the Supreme Rule Tao confirming Lin Yuan's passage. Through the trial, there was no need to verify anything. Many new causes and effects? Suddenly, Lin Yuan felt stirred, looking toward the distant dimensional spaces. With a thought, he immediately identified the source of these causes and effects. By sealing and resolving the terrifying rift, he had spared these dimensional spaces from destruction, leading countless beings within to worship and, as a result, naturally forming a web of causal ties. Of course, these causal connections were one-sided. Only Lin Yuan could perceive them, while the other beings were unaware of Lin Yuan's existence. Chaos void. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. With the first stage's trials concluded, it's time to begin the second stage. Lin Yuan enhanced his spiritual will, contacting the will of the Supreme Rule Tao, soon receiving the specifics of his second stage trial. Quite simple. Lin Yuan glanced over it, finding it manageable, and promptly sent the Taiji primordial spirit to fulfill it. The power of the Taiji primordial spirit was now in no way inferior to Lin Yuan's true self, though when divided into Taiyin primordial spirit and Taiyang divine spirit, it was slightly weaker. In the boundless vastness of the infinite dimensions, suddenly, ripples of strange energy surfaced in a distant time-space. This energy emerged from nowhere, supreme yet immediate, rapidly spreading and penetrating the infinite dimensions. What's happening? What is this power? It can actually affect the infinite dimensions? Time Lords expressed disbelief, and some ancient legendary lords were forcefully awakened, incredulously sensing the peculiar power waves permeating nearly the entire dimensional reality. The power that shakes the entire endless dimension. Even the will of the Supreme Rule Tao is retreating. Transcendence, it must be related to transcendence. No wonder I couldn't observe the current timeline over 100,000 years ago. So that's how it is, that's how it is. One by one, the ancient legendary lords appeared, and those who roamed the past and future quickly returned to this time and space, sensing the strange force that penetrated the vast dimensions. Rustle. As time and space distorted, a 12-armed figure appeared, looking up at the source of the strange vibrations. At this moment, that place was in a state of absolute chaos, with an inexplicable force spreading and diffusing. Fantian, you've returned as well. Not far from the 12-armed figure, another figure condensed, its form changing at every moment, as if replicating everything in the endless dimensions. Wan Xiang, what do you think this power is? The 12-armed figure, Fantian Lord, asked casually. If there were other legendary lords present, they would be shocked to discover that both Fantian Lord and Lord Wanxiang are incredibly ancient and powerful legendary lords. Long before countless ages, they were already acknowledged as terrifying beings who had passed the 300 millionth tribulation of their final stage, nearing the end of the path of transcendence. Related to transcendence, how would I know exactly what power it is? Lord Wanxiang said, a hint of longing in his gaze. Wasn't the pursuit of such power the very reason he traveled through the ancient past and distant future? Buzz, at this moment another figure gathered. Hao Yin. Lord Wanxiang glanced at the third figure, his expression showing caution. Fantian Lord and Lord Hao Yin were known as the Twin Heavens among the many legendary lords, and their fame stretched across many time-space continuums both past and future. As time passed, one figure after another appeared, this being the location closest to the source of the strange vibrations, where only legendary lords nearby the 300 millionth tribulation or close might stand. The sage has arrived. Suddenly, a figure condensed, drawing the attention of many legendary lords. The sage! Even Fantian Lord, Lord Hao Yin, and other legendary lords fixed their eyes on the last arriving figure. The sage was not the most powerful of legendary lords, having only passed the 260th millionth tribulation of their final stage, unable to compare with beings like Lord Hao Yin or Fantian Lord. Yet the years experienced by the sage were undoubtedly the most ancient among all legendary lords. It is said that shortly after this endless dimension was created, the sage was born. Legendary lords from the same era as the sage have mostly perished on some path of transcendence. This is because the sage never undertakes anything without assurance. In exploring the infinite tribulations, too, he never attempts to cross without certainty. And having experienced such a long ancient time, he knows secrets vast as the sea of knowledge, thus earning the title of the sage. Though legendary lords can observe the timelines of past and future, many secrets, especially those related to transcendence, cannot be seen on the timeline. They must be personally experienced. The sage, Lord Wanxiang, spoke. What do you think is the cause of this transcendence-level power's appearance? The cause? The sage quietly stared at the source of the strange vibrations, not directly answering. I remember when I had just become a lord, a major event occurred in the endless dimensions. When you first became a lord? A major event? The legendary lords became curious. When the sage had just become a lord, how many ancient ages ago could that have been? At that time, I was still very weak. It was Wu Yu Lord who shook the vast dimensions, reaching the pinnacle of lordship, striving towards the 14th rank, the evolution into a perfect time being. The transition from imperfect to perfect, such a leap in life essence induced a tremor throughout the dimension. Although Wu Yu Lord eventually failed, subsequent lords understood that the perfect time being is the pinnacle for us lords, and from then on, the perfect time being became a path of transcendence. The sage's tone held a trace of nostalgia. The path of transcendence to become a perfect time being, unlike infinite origin or infinite tribulations, was one explored personally. By lords, are you suggesting that this power might evolve into a new path of transcendence? For the first time, Lord Hao Yin spoke. Over the long eras, many paths of transcendence have existed, but only 3 are mainstream and recognized by the majority of lords. Perfect time being, infinite origin, infinite tribulations. Indeed, such a scene that shakes the entire dimension has only occurred once before, during the first transition from imperfect to perfect. The sage nodded, then added, but this is just my speculation. I can't be certain. Let's wait. Whether it is the 4th path of transcendence or not, we'll know if we wait and see. Fantian Lord spoke. Upon hearing this, the other legendary lords suppressed their inner restlessness and began to wait patiently. Soon enough, under the watchful gaze of all legendary lords, the source of the strange vibrations suddenly began to burst, with strands of energy cascading into the endless dimensions. Each strand transformed as it descended, forming step after step of white jade stairs. The lower end of the white jade stairs connected to the endless dimension, while the upper end, it was seemingly endless, leading upwards as if reaching the eternal heights. White jade steps, the legendary lords closely observe. There are 33,333 white jade steps, scattered across infinite dimensional realms. Lord Wanxiang looked at the steps and spoke. Let's go and take a look. Lord Hao Yin took a step forward and immediately appeared before the nearest white jade step. From this angle, the white jade steps spread upward endlessly, without beginning or end. The transcendent power forming these steps is certainly not meaningless. The legendary lords kept scrutinizing, yet none dared to step onto the first step. Since none of you dare, I'll go. Pantheon Lord glanced at the other legendary lords, then boldly stepped onto the first step. Standing on the first step, Pantheon Lord's expression changed slightly, paused for a moment, then stepped onto the second step. After several dozen breaths, Pantheon Lord was already climbing more than 10 steps. No issue. Pantheon is fine? Seeing this, other legendary lords attempted to step on the first step as well. What's this? A legendary lord's pupils contracted. I can sense the metamorphosis direction of my own chaotic origin Tao. As long as I follow this direction, I can metamorphose towards the supreme rule Tao. Indeed, I felt it too. So chaotic origin Tao is not the end. We also have hope to enter the supreme rule Tao's level. The eyes of the legendary lords were fervent. The supreme rule Tao. That is a being on par with the perfect time being. The supreme rule Tao's will is referred to as half a perfect time being because its power influences everything, omnipotent. Metamorphosing one's own chaotic origin Tao into the supreme rule Tao. Isn't that transcendence? The path of transcendence. As long as you reach the end of the white jade steps, the chaotic origin Tao will metamorphose into the supreme rule Tao, allowing transcendence. These white jade steps are the path of transcendence, the fourth path of transcendence. Numerous thoughts surged in the hearts of the legendary lords, and they began to climb the white jade steps. However, most of the legendary lords did not choose this set of white jade steps, opting to head for other steps instead. After the strange fluctuations erupted, a total of 33,333 white jade steps were formed, not just the one before them. Especially Lord Haoyin, Lord Wanxiang, and other lords, with Pantheon Lord already leading on these steps. They didn't wish to compete with him. Even if the white jade steps are the path of transcendence, the number of lords who can transcend is certainly limited. Pantheon is already on this path, so I will choose another. Lord Haoyin turned his thoughts and headed to another set of white jade steps. The path of transcendence. The sage's gaze was complex, murmuring to himself, I wonder how many legendary lords will perish this time. Having experienced long eras and cycles of great devastation, the sage naturally understood that the path of transcendence is both hope and a dead end. Regarding the fourth path of transcendence, it's unknown how many legendary lords have fallen upon it. I've lived so long. Perhaps I should try this time as well? The sage approached another set of white jade steps, equally stirred by desire. Though renowned among the legendary lords, merely the endless years they've experienced reverently him. Yet the sage knew that to lords like Haoyin, Pantheon, and Wanxiang, there was disregard toward him. For the legendary lords, mere survival doesn't hold much meaning. To die in pursuit of transcendence is the true end. My friends have all died on the path of transcendence. I should make a gamble as well. The sage turned his thoughts 1,000 times, finally choosing to step onto the first set of white jade steps. In the chaos void, Lin Yuan suddenly opened his eyes, feeling the strange fluctuations enveloping the whole dimensional realm. The first stage of the second phase of endless trials, my Taiji primordial spirit entering a special place, causing me to focus entirely on it, and now only noticing. Lin Yuan furrowed his brows, initially believing the first stage of the second phase to be easy, which it was indeed not difficult yet briefly occupied all of Lin Yuan's focus. Galaxy. Purple Light Legendary Lord messaged. You should be aware of the white jade steps, right? Just became aware. Lin Yuan nodded. A batch of legendary lords has already stepped onto the white jade steps. Purple Light Legendary Lord remarked. Across infinite dimensional realms, there are 33,333 white jade steps, considered the fourth path of transcendence. The fourth path of transcendence? Lin Yuan's eyes showed astonishment as images of the white jade steps appeared before him. He had seen similar images more than once, 3 times to be exact. The last time he saw the white jade steps was over 100,000 years ago, when the Blood Sea Lord's legendary future self forced out Lin Yuan's future self, and the future image included the white jade steps. As for the time before that, it was before Lin Yuan broke through to being a time life form. Before the time loop trials descended, Lin Yuan slept for 2,000 years, dreaming countless peculiar dreams. One among them featured scenes akin to the white jade steps. In that dream, he reached the end of the white jade steps, encountering an unbelievable light gate and a blurry figure leaning against its threshold. Ascending the white jade steps reveals one's chaotic origin Tao's metamorphosis direction towards becoming the supreme rule Tao. Purple Light Legendary Lord spoke, voice also somewhat unstable. For a time life form, the level of chaotic origin Tao was already the limit. Even legendary lords possess Taos of chaotic origin Tao, only in greater numbers. And one's chaotic origin Tao metamorphosing towards the supreme rule Tao. No wonder the white jade steps are known as the 4th path of transcendence. If true, it is indeed such a path. Why is the infinite trials referred to as the path of transcendence? Because with each passing trial, one's strength increases. Even without ultimate transformation, merely the enhancements from tens of billions of trials suffice for transcendence. The white jade steps follow a similar principle. As long as one's chaotic origin Tao metamorphoses to the supreme rule Tao, that is transcendence. Without any restrictions? Lin Yuan asked. The infinite trials enhance strength only after completing a trial. Only through effort comes reward. Restrictions do exist. Purple Light Legendary Lord commented. Currently, those already stepping on the white jade steps indicate that each step provides direction for one's chaotic origin Tao to metamorphose towards the supreme rule Tao. Yet, it's merely a direction. You need to comprehend and elevate your chaotic origin Tao to that level to ascend the next step. Moreover, each step bears an inexplicable pressure, with pressure increasing as more steps are climbed. Pausing momentarily, Purple Light Legendary Lord continued. All white jade steps may only be climbed by lords, not by time beings. Below the 3rd realm, they can at most perceive, unable to touch. This last point is normal. Other transcendence paths also require attaining lordship to access them. I see. Lin Yuan nodded. Here are the positions of the 33,300 and 33 white jade steps. Galaxy, which one do you choose? So I can avoid you. Purple Light Legendary Lord whispered. In one-way time-space, Purple Light Lord remembered Lin Yuan's future self standing atop white jade steps. Although unaware of the exact height Lin Yuan had reached then, it was clear that he probably led most legendary lords, so Purple Light Legendary Lord naturally dared not choose the same path of transcendence as Lin Yuan. I chose this one. Lin Yuan looked at one of the white jade steps. While conversing with Purple Light Legendary Lord, his true self had already arrived at this set of white jade steps.